Hi everyone, my name's Anthony Rees and I'm from the HP Helion Cloud team, and today I'm going to be talking about transforming your business with cloud on behalf of our partner Tasmanet. So let's take a look at the cloud system or cloud service automation console. At the moment I'm logged in as a super user, and as a super user I can administer the organizations that are made up as part of the cloud system solution. As you can see, we have a Tasmanet portal, and I'll be going into that consumer portal in a moment. We also have the ability to link to multiple resource providers. They can be private clouds, public clouds, or virtual private clouds. In my particular Sandpit environment, we have a link out to Amazon EC2, and that's just connected to my private account, which is running against my personal credit card. We also have a link out to HP Cloud as well, and that again, that's another public cloud instance. And we also have a link out to Microsoft Azure. This is available obviously as a public cloud offering as well, so it's just another resource provider. And we also have a private cloud offering, which is just connected to a VMware vCenter, utilizing that as a hypervisor. Now we have the ability to orchestrate onto any of these particular providers, and we also have the ability to modify the life cycles of these resource providers as well. So we can edit the life cycles and how they perform the different automations. So let's jump across and take a look at the Tasmanet Cloud Consumer Portal. So we'll just log into that. Now, the consumer portals are all HTML5 cascading style sheets, so you can make them look however you would like. The portlets are customizable as well, and some people like to see how much usage they've got, the costs associated with it. So let's just take a look and see what services are currently running at the moment. At the moment, we've only got an offline service, which was a Windows provision server. So let's just go back to our service catalog, and maybe we'll just start by creating a simple Red Hat instance running on our private cloud. So it'll just be a private compute cloud node, and we can obviously customize all of this. So we'll just select a small server. Now you can completely categorize the size of the servers. You can have small, medium, large, extra large, however the sizes you want to break them up. We'll stick with the standard host names here, and we'll just provision into the POC environment. We could provision into any of the environments that we wanted. And for this particular instance, we'll add monitoring, and we'll also have backups. So the monitoring is running off HP SiteScope, and the backups are running off HP Data Protector. So we'll just check that out. It has a very shopping cart look and feel, and we'll just call this Tasmanet 1 as the example, and we can also add a subscription period as well. So we'll just have this one running for a year, that's fine, and we'll submit that request. The subscription period is often handy for when you're provisioning out into the public cloud, especially if you don't want to be spending a lot of money or being able to manage the costs of your clouds as well. So if we jump out and hop back into to our particular subscriptions, you're going to see at the moment we have just the offline one that our Linux machine will be standing up in the background. Now, as you can see, our Red Hat instance is currently transitioning. So it's going through the life cycle of standing itself up. And at the moment, we're not going to be able to see much details about it because it hasn't actually been provisioned yet. Once it is provisioned, we'll come back in here and have a look, and we'll be able to see the IP address of it. We'll be able to start and stop the virtual instance, and we'll be able to manage it as well. So in the meantime, maybe we'll go back to the service catalog and we'll talk about some of the platform as a service offerings that are available. So back in the catalog, we've got the ability to create service offerings and be able to make them available to the different personas that you have within your organization. So for example, you could choose to provision a Linux Red Hat instance, which is just running on your vCenter, i.e. your public cloud. Private cloud. You could provision a Windows server onto your private cloud. From the same single pane of glass, you could provision an Amazon EC2 public cloud instance, or you could even go out to the HP public cloud and provision from there. You could also provision a Microsoft Azure instance, or one on public cloud using Hyper-V. Because this single pane of glass has the ability to talk to multiple hypervisors, you have the ability to control all of it from a single pane of glass. It even has advanced automation, which allows you to do platform as a service type offerings. So you could stand up a two-tier architecture, or you could provision a server and push onto it a database. So you've got database as a service. So for example, you could push an Oracle 11g database onto your private cloud, just as an example. So if we go back to check on how our orchestration is happening, at the moment it's deploying the service, so it's getting close. Still no confirmed details at the moment because it hasn't been deployed at the moment, but we'll see that once it's completed. Now, in the meantime, while that's happening, let's jump back across into the administration console and we'll work. So a service blueprint is the ability to create a topology blueprint design, and that topology blueprint design, you have the ability to bind it to multiple resource providers. So what that means is that you could essentially create a single design and bind it and have the ability to bind it to an attribute of a resource provider, and that resource provider could be for a private cloud such as your vCenter, or it could be for a public cloud such as Amazon or Microsoft Azure, etc. And you can create really complex multi-tiered architecture layouts, and you can grab those web servers or the application servers or the database servers, and you can bind them to resources. And the ability to bind to different resources at runtime gives you a late binding solution that you can have a single architecture blueprint for, but have the ability to provision into multiple cloud offerings. So it becomes very powerful for you and becomes a one-stop shop to be able to provision into multiple cloud resource providers. From within the administration console, you also have the ability from an operations point of view to go and see and to delve into the automation steps. So we can see that our orchestration of the Red Hat instance on the vCenter is still pending and in a status of deploying. So it's still in the throes of actually deploying. And if we go and have a look at the events, we can see that the deploying transition stage of the lifecycle is actually the active one and hasn't been completed yet. Once that's been completed, we will then be able to get into that particular instance. Now, if any of these steps fail, you have the ability to drill in, check the logs, and once you've checked the logs and fixed the problem, you can just restart it. So you don't need to start from the beginning again. It has the ability to hot start halfway through the process if anything was to go wrong. So now you can see that the orchestration has completed, and if I just drill into it and have a check the events again, you can see that all of the lifecycle states have been completed, and those lifecycle states are completely modifiable. So you can add other lifecycle states. So for example, if you wanted to create custom flows to put monitoring, or to be able to add databases, or to be able to push applications onto it after the deployment has been completed, you can do that with this particular tool. So it really does give you platform as a service offerings. So let's jump back into the Tasmanet Cloud Consumer Portal and take a look at what that instance looks like. So we're back in the Tasmanet Cloud Consumer Portal again, and we'll just go back into my services, and you can see that that Linux box is now up online. And because it's now online and it's available, we now know and can see the IP address of that machine. We can see the host name. All of this is configurable, so you can add as much detail or reduce the amount of detail that your consumers can see. We can also control and restart, stop, suspend that particular server, or we can flex the CPU or the memory. So you have the ability to give power to your users, or to be able to lock down that power and only give it to your administrators. The flexibility in the system is completely yours to be able to customize it. So as a whole, the cloud system solution gives different persona groups the ability to be able to self-service and consume what they require, when they require it. And it's not just infrastructure as a service, but it's also platform as a service. I hope this was helpful. If I can help you out in any way, please reach out to myself or any of the Tasmanet or HP Helion Cloud team. Thanks very much.